are you all? Oh my goodness. I am so excited about tonight, y'all. It's Thursday. Happy Friday Eve. Happy Friday Eve. Okay. You know how we say like Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve. Now I'm saying Friday Eve. Come on, somebody. Say it with me in the comments. Happy Friday Eve. I want to know where you're tuning in from. I know that some of you are on Instagram with us, some of you are on Facebook with us, and some of you are on YouTube. I love y'all. Okay, let me know where you're tuning in from. I'm coming to the comments. How has your week been? What is one lesson you learned this week? One lesson that you learned this week, say it in the comments. One lesson that I learned this week was, I can surprise God. If you were on the Galentine's event on Tuesday night, oh my gosh, so much fun with April, Taryn, and Carry On. We just had a girls' night. But I was just saying how I know nothing surprises God, but I felt like I surprised God this week by going to the gym. You know that's something that I struggle with. Tappahannock is in the building. Hey, Mom. Virginia's there. My mom is here, y'all. My mama's here. You know, if anything, she's going to be here. She's going to be here. Okay, go ahead, add where you're tuning in from. Maybe it's not what you learned this week, but maybe what was one of your wins this week. So that was a lesson I learned this week. I needed to go to the gym. And then one of my wins was going to the gym and going for walks. I want to know, I'm coming to the comments. What is something you either learned this week or one of your wins this week? And let me know where you're tuning in from. I want to know. I want to know. I want to know. I am so excited about tonight and about session number 5. Y'all, can you believe that this is session 5 of the She Can virtual book tour? First of all, before I even go into how I am so excited, tongue twister, how I am so excited about session 5. Have you gotten your book yet? Have you started 31 days of you becoming the woman that you were created to be while walking in your destiny? She Can is here. You can go to shecanmovement.org or you can go to Amazon and get your book. Have you gotten your book yet? I've been getting text messages and pictures and sisters calling me and saying, I'm on day 10 or I'm on day 12 or I'm on day 1. Whichever day you're on, I just hope that God is just strengthening you, speaking to you, and loving on you and showing you who you are called to be in this season. Gloria has come on. She says, hey, everyone, tuning in from Tappahannock. Tappahannock is in the building tonight, y'all. We're in the building. Hey, Gloria. Hey, sis. So tonight, you know what we've been doing. We've been doing affirmations. And if you've gotten your book from shecanmovement.org, you know I've been sending these fun affirmation cards. Do we need to do affirmation cards next? Somebody say yes in the comments so I know if the She Can Movement needs to do affirmation cards next. Just tell me the yes and it's done. But today's affirmations are, this is the first one, y'all. I wanted to bring them on like this tonight because they were one of those, This one says, I can no longer dismiss the things that bring me joy and peace. If that resonates with you, snap your fingers or give me a thumbs up in the comments. I can no longer dismiss the things that bring me joy and peace. Or this is number 2. If I can see it, I must believe it and speak it. There is power in the words I speak. Ooh! So it says, if I can see it, I must believe it and speak it. There is power in the words I speak. I'm going with number 1 and number 2. Which one are you going with, sisters? Are you going with, I can no longer dismiss the things that bring me peace and joy? Or are you going with, if I can see it, I must believe it and speak it. There is power in my words. Which one are you going with? I'm doing both tonight. I need both. It's a both night for me. Both. I want to know. I want us to be mindful and intentional about what we're saying to ourselves, saying daily affirmations. If you're part of Weekly Fuel, this week I sent out the affirmations for February. So every month now, we started this almost towards the end of 2023, where we have affirmations each month for She Can, that we tweak for ourselves, that we hang up on our mirror, whatever we need to do to just affirm ourselves with the word of God. Ooh, So I'm so excited. Okay, y'all let me know in the comments which one was best for you. So before I keep going, because tonight's guest speaker is one of my dear friends. Y'all, the devotional book would not be here if it was not for this woman right here. So many people played so many key parts in making sure that this book was published. And when I tell you, my sweet dear friend, every time I saw her, she was like, "Are you almost done? How's it going? Let me know if you need more encouragement." I mean, she was on me with it. And so when I was thinking and praying about God, who needs to be here for the She Can Virtual Book Tour, I was like, Rhea Story, because and I love that. She has a powerful and beautiful story. You're going to hear about it in just a few minutes. But I want to tell you a little bit about her. Have you ever met someone and you're like, ooh, they have a good heart? It's something about them that they're different. She's that woman. When you meet her, you're like, she's different. She's an angel. Not to mention that she's a motivational speaker, international, y'all. She's done TED Talks. TED Talks. Okay. I feel like I'm one of her fans when I'm in her presence. You know, when people kind of do the TED Talks, it's like, okay, you're a celebrity now. Come on, somebody. She also is an author of 14 books. 14, y'all. 14 books. If anything, tonight she's going to show you how when the devil tries to interrupt something in your life, God turns it for good. 14 books. Then, now this is about to blow you all's mind. She also has 6 motivational planner journals along with the 14 books. One of the favorite books that I've seen her give to other women that I have been able to go through with women that I used to work with is her book called Fearfully and Wonderfully Made. She's also a wife. She's also a servant. She's also an advocate. She also is goals. Like when you meet her, you're like, that's a goal I want to have. I want to introduce you all to Rhea Story. I'm adding her to the stage. Make some noise for my friend Rhea.
Najma, I just love your energy. It is always just so awesome to be able to talk with you. And I love what you're doing with your book and your movement and all of the things. So thank you for having me.
Rhea, first of all, thank you for being here. Y'all, okay, so I have to share this. Rhea is normally in bed by now, but she loves us so much. She's here with us tonight. Like when I said goals, she goes to bed at like, didn't you say like, what is
8 o'clock. I'm usually in bed by 8 o'clock, but I get up early, but you know what? There is nowhere I'd rather be than here with you, Najma.
Oh, don't make me cry, Rhea. This makeup doesn't last forever, so I can't cry. But first of all, how many of you are night owls? Put night owls in the comments. Rhea's not a night owl. She's normally in bed by 8. So we're going to do that challenge one time, Rhea, to get to bed early. I'm coming to the comments to see where my night owls are. I'm one of them.
Okay.
Or do you go to bed early, sisters? Oh, the sisters are coming in. They said, hey, Rhea.
Hello, hello.
We want to know who the night owls are and who goes to bed early. Let's see who breaks this tie. Night owl. Okay, they're coming in, Rhea. Gloria says she's a night owl with me.
Oh, hey, Gloria.
I love that. Rhea, well, yes, thank you so much for being here. You are an angel, and I feel like your story brings women like myself and just people in general hope. And I felt like I wanted tonight to be like a hope night, because sometimes when we go through things that have trapped us, that have taken us down, that have hurt us, we literally don't know how to have hope after that. And so I feel like you are a woman that shows us how we can have hope. Recovering night owl. They're still the sisters are still saying hey to you. Oh,
Hello, hello. Oh, I love that recovering night owl. Maybe I'll be a recovering maybe that's what it is. As I'm recovering from being too early and maybe shifting into more of a night energy. Najma, you might have brought that out.
no, because now I want to switch to going to bed early too. So don't flip flop because I need you to hold me accountable.
Okay.
Okay. So, Ria, I want the sisters tonight to just really take a moment, you all. As you're watching, we see you all online. I want you to take a moment tonight to know. I want to start with this. You are enough. God loves you. God sees you. And whatever you went through in your past, God will restore it. So I wanted to start with that because I believe once you hear Ria talk about some of her story, you'll be able to, some of you will be able to resonate. Some of you will be able to take things from that and apply it for your life. And then some of you will just be encouraged. So I want you, Ria, to just share some of your story with us. Do you mind sharing some parts of your story with us that can give us hope in these times where we're feeling like, ooh, I went through, and I want to say this too, I meant to say this as well. Some of us go through things in our childhood that we never get a chance to really dissect and process. And some
Mm.
of us are hurting from things that have come from places of hurt which came from our family members, which came from loved ones. And sometimes that hurts the most. Can you take us into your story and then at some point, just dive us into that? And at some point, we are going to see how hope comes alive through your story.
Oh, thank you, Najma. Yeah, first off, I tell people I married my husband for his last name. It's not true, but there are no coincidences, right? Les Brown says coincidence is God's way of staying anonymous. And I had no idea when I met Max Story many years ago that, I mean, if you're going to be an author and a speaker, you need a last name like Story, right? But I had no idea back then that we would be on stage sharing our stories respectively. So I just tell that up front. I get people who come up to me and go, "Is that really your name?" Yep, it really is. It really is our last name. So, um, and the thing, Najma, is, we talk about having hope and restoring that sense of hope after adversity. Every single one of us go through adversity in life, right? Life can be hard. Life can be tough. And what is universal is that we are going to go through challenges in life. And so I just always have felt like, for me, when I share my story, it gives me a reason to have come through it to begin with, right? Because if I can share what was a terrible chapter in my story and a painful, hard chapter, but if I can share it and inspire someone else, then it becomes a beautiful thing, right? If I can inspire someone to realize that what happens to us in life is not as important as who we become because of it. The things that happen to us in life influence us, they impact us, but they don't determine us. And so for me, that's why I share my story. Um, but yeah, I was a victim of sexual abuse. My father started sexually abusing me when I was 12 years old, and it progressed as I got older, and as he got bolder. And by the time I was 17, he was regularly having sex with me and bargaining with me for sexual favors in exchange for something like a night out with my friends. And he always said in his words that he wanted to give me the ultimate experience in life, and that looked like a lot of different things. Sometimes it was beating me with a riding crop until I was black and blue, and sometimes it was taking nude photographs of me, and sometimes it was trafficking me to men he would meet off of the internet. And there were times when life was just almost not worth living. And I thought about it, a tub of warm water and a razor blade. But again, what happens to us isn't as important as who we become because of it. What do we do with that? And I like to say that God doesn't cause the pain in our lives, but he can use it. And when I left home at 19. I met a knight in a shiny Camaro, and years later, we've long since gotten rid of the Camaro, but I married him. But I didn't have anything when I left home. I didn't have a job. I didn't have any money. I didn't have a high school diploma. I'd never been to school. But I realized I could spend the rest of my life playing a victim and blaming a lack of success on what I'd been through. Or I could say, "You know what? I'm not going to let what happened to me determined the rest of my life. Now, I didn't want to share my story, and I didn't share my story. And for many years, even after leaving, I didn't talk about it. I didn't want people to see me as a victim, because I think a lot of times when we go through something hard or something difficult in our lives, we don't want people to know about it because we're afraid that's going to change maybe how they see us. And so what I like to say is if we don't own our story, it will own us, right? And so we have to just say, you know what? It's impacted me, it's influenced me, and maybe I'm scarred from it, but our scars can make us stronger, right? Because they shape us. It's up to us to decide how they shape us. So, when I today when I share my story, I don't share my story so people will feel sorry for me. I want people to be able to look at me and say, if she can overcome what she went through, I can overcome what I went through. Because our greatest freedom in life, Najma, and you and I have talked about this, many times. Our greatest freedom in life is realizing that, and humans have the freedom to pause and choose how we respond when something happens to us. So when something bad happens or when something tough happens, we have the ability to stop and say, you know what, I have emotions and feelings when something happens. That's normal. But it's Andy Stanley who reminds us our feelings can be terrible leaders, right? And so what we can realize is that just because those emotions are there, I don't have to respond based on them. And that is such a beautiful thing because it means nobody else can make you have a bad day or a bad week or a bad life, right? And so we cannot play the victim when things happen. We cannot use that as an excuse for making bad decisions or bad choices or turning to bad habits for things that don't serve us, because our freedom is saying, you know what? I can't control much of what happens in life, but I get to control how I respond and how I think about it. And that is such a great freedom.
Wow, Rhea. First of all, the sisters are coming in the chat, and she can is a sisterhood, but we just want to say we love you, that you are so brave, that you are so strong. Sisters, let me see you send Rhea some love in the comments, because you literally, every time I hear your story and you share the part about how you didn't even get a chance to attend school, how you went through these different things with your father. um it just makes me go wow when I look at you today. I'm like, wow, you are here. You are standing. You are a sign that God is still here, that God heals, that God restores. And so I just want to take a moment to say thank you for being brave, to
Oh.
say thank you for saying yes to your story, for saying yes to God. And the sisters are coming in. They said, love you, love your courage.
Oh.
They're sending hearts to you. Yes, because they're saying still standing. You're still standing. Yes, you are. And I just think that you're just a testimony that like we can literally get through anything. How
Yes.
are
Yes.
you so smart, Rhea? I don't know if you missed this. You're joining us right now. Rhea just shared her story with us, but she never attended school. You are one of the most intelligent people that I know. I say this to someone that feels like they did not finish high school or they did not go to college, that they can't be something, that they can't do something, that they're not qualified. Allow Rhea's story. She is a motivational speaker now. She has done TED Talks. She writes books. Do not allow the things that you didn't get a chance to experience or do stop who God has called you to be.
Mm, that
Mm.
is so true. We can start from anywhere and go anywhere, right? I mean, to answer your question though, Najma, I've been very intentional about I had to go get my GED, and then I did go on to community college and then, attend college, but I've always been really intentional about just developing myself, personal growth. I'm a big fan. I mean, we've all heard the term post traumatic stress, right? I'm a fan of post traumatic growth. We can grow after adversity, but I'm a bigger fan of pre traumatic growth. What if we grow a little bit every single day and equip ourselves so that when we have problems tomorrow, we're already better equipped. We think at a different level. We are better able to tackle those problems and those challenges. And you don't have to do it all day. You got to brush your teeth every day, but you don't have to brush your teeth all day. But you got to grow a little bit. Read a book, read a paragraph a day, read a book a month, watch a cool personal growth or leadership podcast, right? Watch a TEDx talk. There's so much information out there that can help us think at a different level. And when I look back over my journey, that's one thing I've been just so intentional about, is just regularly growing. And but the one reason that I love that is because I want to be a river, right? I want to be able to help inspire somebody else with some things I've learned. And I couldn't have talked about all of these principles when I 20 something years ago, but I've been able to grow and learn and think about that and go, okay, but now I can say it so that I can hopefully share it with somebody else. And to me, that's a reason to be intentional with our growth. We cannot give somebody else what we don't have. And we all want to help other people in our life.
Y'all, now Rhea is preaching. Did y'all catch some of that? We can't give people what we don't have. That's number. Ooh. And then taking every day to grow, taking every day to learn. Oh, that's why I said say growth in the comments. If you know that there's an area in your life that you need to grow, say growth in the comments. Somebody put growth in there for me. I love that, Rhea, that we have to constantly be willing to grow and evolve and change to be who we were created to be.
Yes.
They're saying it. Everyday growth. Growth. Yes. Love that, sisters. Thank you all. Yes. I love that, Rhea. I love that because I think that that's so important that we don't get stuck with where we are. Because I know sometimes I can.
Yeah. Well, we all can, right? I mean, life is there again. Life can throw us some curveballs and some challenges. But what I love about that is when we talk about stepping into our potential, right? Every single one of us have a dream inside of us of something better, right? A better relationship at home, or better influence with our kids, better career, or starting our own business, right? We have that dream inside of us. But God puts those dreams inside of us for only one reason, is we are capable of becoming the person who can make them come true. But we have to be willing to do the work and make the sacrifices to make that a reality. And nobody else will fight as hard for your dream as you can, as you will, as you should. And nobody else will make that become a reality. Is you have to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to make the sacrifices. And if that looks like reading a book when I don't like to read, or maybe it means going to college at night, or, developing myself to be the person who can make that dream a reality, it's going to take work. It's going to take sacrifice, but it's worth it.
Rhea, everything that you just said, the word stretch keeps coming to my mind. You got to stretch yourself. Yes. All that you just said, all I kept feeling, stretch, stretch, stretch.
I love that. It's like a rubber band is only useful when it's being stretched, right? We're kind of the same way. Like, we have to stretch to grow.
Rhea is preaching, y'all. Somebody say preach in the comments, because Rhea is preaching to us right now. Rhea, I also want to know this. How do we as women find hope and believe that we are still called to be who God has called us to be after we have gone through traumatic experiences? So how do we have hope and believe when we've gone through so many things that have hurt us and they're so traumatic?
I think hope is a decision. It's a state of mind, right? It's not just an emotion. It's a choice based on faith. Hope is saying, I'm going to be able to use my imagination and know that the future can be better than it is today, right? That is hope, is saying tomorrow can be better, or next week can be better. And I have to be willing to trust that that is absolutely possible. But it's kind of like when you're driving your car through like this heavy fog, And you can't see all the way through the fog, but if you keep driving, you're going to get to the other side. But if you just stop and you just stay stuck in the fog, you're you may never get out of the fog, right? And so we have to know, number 1, we have to have hope that tomorrow can be better. And we also have to be willing there again to focus on the things that we can control in the moment that will help us get there. It's not just saying, "Oh, you've heard the cliche, hope's not a strategy." Well, you got to have hope to get a strategy, but you have to be willing to act on that strategy, right? When you're in that season of doubt or darkness and you're like, "Man, I don't know if the future can be better." It can. We have to believe in that, but then we have to say, "Well, what are the things I can be doing right now to help that?" If you're working in a job where you're miserable, well, yes, it can have hope, it can be better, but develop yourself to have opportunities, right? Or get on LinkedIn and brush up your profile and network with people, right? You got to take some action there too. And I think that's what God calls us to be responsible for. Not responsible for all of the things that happen. We can't control most of them, but taking responsibility for the choices that we make that we can take action on. What are the things that we can do, right? And it's not going to happen instant. We get frustrated when we don't see instant progress in life, but it's kind of like when you take an ice cube out of the freezer and it starts to melt right away, but you can't see it yet, right? So when we're swimming through the fog and we're driving through the fog, we have to be willing to just continuously and consistently take a step forward, and one step and one step. Even when we can't see the other side, you just have to keep going.
I like that one step, like one step at a time. I wonder how many blessings we miss out on or how many opportunities that we miss out on um, because we don't take that step. You
Mm.
take that step. Ooh, they're already asking. So, Ria, when did you find God on your journey? So, Ria just shared with us, you all, for those of you that are just joining and now having questions. Ria shared with us that she was abused by her father at a young age. She did not attend school. She got missed from some opportunities, but God turned it for her good. And so now she's doing all these wonderful things. And so, one question is, when did you find God, Ria? They're beating me to my questions. They're ready.
That's a great question, Miss Vaughn. So, I was raised in a quote unquote Christian environment, but I didn't have a relationship with God. And it wasn't until 2013, and I had not shared my story publicly there again, but Mac and I went down for a speaker training with Les Brown, who's a motivational speaker. He's fabulous. You got to look him up on YouTube. And part of the speaker training was you had to create a 60-second speech. And because Les Brown says the best speakers make the fewest words go the farthest. So I had been thinking and praying about whether I should share my story. And because a few months prior to that, I'd heard Les Brown speak to a whole room full of people. But he said to this whole room full of people, "You have a story to share, and someone needs to hear your story." And I thought, I don't want to share my story. I worked really hard to leave that behind. But I'd been thinking about this and praying about this, and I didn't even tell anyone that I was thinking about it at this coming up to this speaker training because I wasn't sure that I could. And it just, it had so many years of shame and just, kept me wrapped up in those bonds of shame and guilt. And the morning of the speaker training came, and part of the speaker training was a contest, right? So there would be a few winners chosen. And the morning of the contest came, and I mean, I had like a meltdown, like ugly mascara running down meltdown in the ladies' room. And I thought, I can't do this. And I just almost felt just a reassurance and an answer that you can do this, but you don't have to do it alone. And for me, that was the moment of faith, right? Of stepping out of the boat. You can't walk on water until you step out of the boat. And for me, that was stepping out of the boat and saying, I feel like God is calling me to share this story. And I have to honor that, right? And that's when I think that my faith journey really began, because that's the moment of faith and saying, I don't know if I can do this, right? But getting that reassurance and that that trust, because that's what faith is. Faith is a belief that changes your life, right? It's taking steps in faith that you wouldn't do normally. And you faith, the definition of faith is you don't have any proof, right? It is a decision that you make, and you're like, I don't have any proof, but that's why it's faith. That's why it's called faith. So great question. But yeah, it's been a incredible journey. I think I thought back then that you just put on like your LinkedIn profile speaker and people hire you to speak. And let me tell you, it's not exactly like that. There were some ramen noodle years. Mac and I were on a similar journey. Is that, after I shared my story publicly, I resigned from the job I'd gone to college for 10 years to get, but I discovered the difference between a career and a calling. And Mac was similarly working, he had transitioning from being a consultant into the leadership development. And so we both kind of within a few months gave up our respective careers, and we cashed in our retirement. We sold our house, we sold the car and the Hummer and the hot tub and the Corvette and all of the things that we had, because we wanted to make a bigger difference. And we knew you can't go from two really successful careers to not making any money for quite some time without making some lifestyle changes. And Mac used to say, he would say, I'm so passionate about doing this and helping other people. I would go live under a bridge in order to do this. And I'm like, I'm not living under the bridge. We got to figure it out before we get to the bridge. But we did. And, it's been quite a few years now. And today we are living and doing life together. We travel, we mostly speak together. We travel all around the country, sometimes even internationally, and share leadership, personal growth principles. His niche is blue collar leadership. So, his niche is a little different than mine. I have really a passion for helping women and teaching leadership for women. But whether we're speaking to a group of blue collar, you know, industry workers or a group of ladies. We spoke at a yarn convention in Atlanta one time. It's the same principles. So we love being able to speak together most of the time and just sharing different stories.
Wow, Rhea. First of all, do you all agree with Rhea? I love what you told your husband. No, we're not going under the bridge yet. Okay, like I want to take the leap of faith with you, but listen,
There are limits.
that was hilarious. Yes.
You got to know your boundaries.
You got to know your boundaries. That's a word right there. But Rhea, someone in the comments said it, and that this is what hit me when you said this too. Can you dive in? Because I know this wasn't a part of the questions, but tell us the difference in a few words. What's the difference when you were talking about a career and a calling? Because I think that's hard. Like some of us have a career because we have bills and we have children and we have different things, and we're in professions and careers that we necessarily just do because it pays the bills financially, but we don't have the peace about it. And a lot of us want to do what we're called to do, but we're scared to leave the career because the career is what finances everything. Do I have that are watching right now that feels like they are stuck in a career because they have so many bills to pay, they have to keep up with all these things, but they really want to walk in their calling? If that is you, say me, sis, in the comments, because Rhea, I would love for you to tell us how you did that and what is the difference between the two. They're saying yes in the comments. They are saying yes, yes. I see you all. If you are a sister that has been tied to a career, but you want to step in your calling, please say yes in the comments, because Rhea's about to give us some tips and gems on that. They're saying me, sis. They're coming in, Rhea. Yep. They're like me, sis. Yep. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Rhea. Go ahead.
So, number one, I mean, in a perfect world, absolutely, we would all have a career that is a calling, right? Now, if you're not there, if you're there, that you're that person, like I gotta have a job, right? I gotta pay the bills. We absolutely do. But if you're in that season where that career isn't necessarily your calling, and you would know because you won't feel fulfilled, you won't feel satisfied in that job, you'll dread going to work on Monday. On Sunday night, you're like, man, I don't want to go to work. That's a sign that you're not in harmony and alignment somewhere with, what you're doing for paying the bills versus a calling. Now, a calling could be a stay-at-home mom can be a calling, right? So I don't want to discount that. either. And sometimes we have a calling that isn't a career, so they can be different. But in a perfect world, we figure out how to make those two the same so that we feel like every single day of our work day, we are walking in what God has purposed us to do or where he has us. So how to eventually work towards making those the same thing if you are in that career where you're like, man, I got to pay the bills, but this is not what I feel like I was called to do. It starts with some personal growth, and I know I touched on that, I'm gonna talk about it again because it is really the key, right? We have to develop ourselves so that we have more value to add in a career. And when we have more value to add, we become able to add more value. We have more career options because we are more valuable, right? If you can do more, if you have developed yourself so that you have more options, you have both character and competency, because you got to have both, right? Character is who I am. Competency is what I know how to do. You have to have both. But research shows us that most of our success in life is who we are as a person, right? Our character, things like our attitude. Do we have good teamwork? Do we have integrity? Do we show up to work on time, right? All of these things are giving us more options, and we need freedom and options in life, right? We often think about we need stability and maybe in the form of a paycheck, but we need freedom and options. And the only way to do that is to continue to grow ourselves so that we have some more options. So I know you said a few words, Najma, but that was a long answer. But it's just so powerful when we think about, hey, it starts with taking responsibility for me. And it's possible, right? We can get to that place of career and calling, start to become more and more in alignment.
I love that. I love that. And when I meant a few words, I kind of meant the long version, and that's exactly what you say. Yes, because you know how mean you are. There's no short version with us. If
That
you
is so true.
Yes. If you agree with that, put agree in the comments or say working on it. I need to work on that. Say agree or working on it in the comments because I think that it is so critical that some of us take a leap of faith. I don't know who this is for. Take a leap of faith and they jump from career to calling. Yes, it is a sacrifice. Yes, it is scary. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it feels like, does God got my back? Do I got my back? All these different things. But God just needs you to start taking steps and he will have your back. And I think that Rhea's story is showing us that. Like she was working in healthcare, a job that she went to school for. She's no longer doing that. That doesn't mean that she wasted that time. That just means that was for a season and now God has something else for her. You have been doing what was for a season. That season has expired. Now God has something else for you. So I want some women tonight to rise up after hearing this and saying, I am walking in my calling. Scratch the career. Yes, it pays the bills. Yes, it helps me do certain things. But if I walk in my calling, those same things will still happen. It may take some time. They may be on delay for a while, but it's time to walk in your calling. Oh, Rhea, you got me so excited. They're in it. They're like, agree with you, Rhea. We took something from that. Thank you, Rhea. Okay. So Rhea, confidence. I want to talk confidence now. So you are an author, you are a businesswoman, you are an international speaker. The list goes on, okay? You all see this. How did you find your voice? What are some tips for women to increase their confidence and their strengths and talents? Because I feel like Rhea, from your story, you could have easily been like, I'm going to mute myself. I'm going to hide. I'm going to put myself in a corner, but you did not. How do we build our confidence? How do we find our voice? How does that happen?
Well, I'll touch on the first question, confidence, and then finding your voice. There are two types of confidence. There is true self-confidence, and that is confidence in who I am as a person, my values, what makes me who I am, right? Is that self-confidence is truly confidence in self. It's confidence in how I show up because this is who I am. Now, to get more of that true self-confidence, we're back to what am I doing to develop my character? Because when I develop my character, it's sort of, I like the analogy of someone who's 3 feet tall can't see over a 4 foot fence, right? So we have to grow in our character, just like we all think differently than we did at 15, right? Of course we do. We're getting different results in life than we did at 15 because we think at a different level. And some of that's natural as we've grown. We think differently, so we act differently. We make different choices, and our choices impact our circumstances. So to grow in that confidence of who I am, right? Intentional with growth. Now, situational confidence is based on competency. So knowledge, skills, talents, the work that we do at work, right? We have to have that. We have to have competency, but that is very dynamic. True self-confidence is pretty static. Like who we are as a person, it can grow over time, but who I am today is going to be pretty much who I am tomorrow, right? It's not going to change a lot day to day. Can change over time with growth. But situational confidence is very dynamic because it's confidence in one specific setting. So, like, you don't want me to do heart surgery on you. If you put me in the operating room, I don't have any situational confidence in that situation. I still have confidence in self of who I am, my values, how I'm going to show up, but I don't have any skill in that setting. So you see how we have to have both types of confidence, right? And we've got to be intentional about developing them both. We talk a lot about, going to college or getting a certification or something like that. There's absolutely good things. That's going to increase our situational confidence. But we also have to be intentional about our personal growth, right? Our values and, you know, all of these values and principles. If you're a person of faith, I guarantee you, if you're a person of faith, all of the principles I'm talking about, they're in the Bible, right? That's where they come from ultimately. And that is a great place to start, but we have to be reading some a leadership growth, a personal growth book. We've got to be intentional about that. But over time, that will help us have more confidence because we'll have stronger roots to put down. And when you have stronger roots to put down, the foundation is going to be stronger.
Love that, Rhea. Love that. It's funny tonight. I feel like you've given us like a workout plan. And I love this because it's like you're giving us the literal tools how to gain confidence in ourselves. Like if we don't work on those things, how can they really come to life? Like if we don't water the flower, it can really never bloom. And
Yeah.
so some of us literally have to take this time in this season to water who we are, to
Mm.
water our gifts and talents,
And
to
plant seeds, right? We got to be planting seeds every day that sprout. And you can't plant orange seeds and get apple trees, right? We also have to be mindful that we're planting good seeds, good choices, good habits. Because you think bad choices don't add up, start making a whole bunch of bad choices, and you see how quickly that life can spiral down, right? And so we've got to be saying, when it comes to growth and development, increasing our options in life and our influence in life, everything matters because they compound over time, right? Just like exercise, you don't have to do 8 hours a day, but a little bit every day can compound over time when it comes to health. And here's the deal, Najma, you can't grow in one dimension of life without that automatically helping you grow in other dimensions of life. So for me, I think a lot of my growth started with being intentional about my physical health, and that helped me with confidence. It helped me be more intentional with other dimensions. And so, if that's your area to start with, go for it. But growth in one area of life is going to help us in the other areas.
wow, wow. Ooh, okay. I feel like we're working out. We're working. Okay. Okay, so as we close, Rhea, I have to ask you this, and I know we're all wondering this. Okay, so you clearly take leaps of faith. I want to point that out and put that on the table. You clearly take leaps of faith. Okay, that's evident. Somebody say leaps of faith in the comments. How do you push past fear and take small steps when you are entering the unknown? We've kind of been talking about that tonight, but how do you push past it? Push past those fears?
I think number one, most of the fear is just worry that we create in our mind, right? Here's the deal: most stress and most drama and most fear is self induced. And most of the time, the things that hold us back, if we have fears or doubts and those are holding us back from stepping into our potential, it's most of the time it's just something that we create in our mind, right? We start focusing on the negatives of a situation. And it's just like if you have one of those cameras, those old style cameras that had like the really the long telephoto lens, and with those now you can do it with anybody's iPhone or Google phone, Samsung, but it's just like when you had one of those cameras, you could focus on something in the frame, and it might be the person in the frame you focus on, and then the background could be blurry. Or maybe you could focus on the background and what was in the front could be blurry, right? Same picture, but you're choosing to focus on something different. And so when we are having those moments of fear or doubt or anxiety, the same things are in the picture. I'm not saying don't pretend that there aren't problems or issues or that doubts and fears. I'm saying we got to focus on the good things, right? We have to don't ignore them. This isn't an ignore it, but don't focus on it. Don't dwell on it, because it's Oprah Winfrey who said, "What we focus on expands."
Take that right there. What we focus on expands. How many of us have been focusing on the negative, have been focusing on only our weaknesses and not our strengths? Rhea, thank you for bringing that quote up. What we focus on expands. So when you think negative, it expands and expands and expands. When you think negative thoughts about yourself, it just expands. Now I see why when I have one thought, it just goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. It spirals. Woo! Rhea, they're coming in. Oh my Lord. So true. Yes. Love it. Yes. Wow. Wow. Okay. Wow. So that's what we have to do. It's almost like I'm feeling like you're saying interrupt those fears.
Mm,
Interrupt those.
absolutely. Don't give them any headspace. You own the real estate right here. That's yours. Don't rent it out to something that doesn't serve you.
Ooh, we own the real estate. Rhea, can I say we own the real estate to our mind? Yes. Wow. We own this property.
Yes.
Ooh, 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 wow, wow, wow. Rhea, thank you for sharing so many tangible tips with us and motivating us and giving us that hope that even if we had a background that tried to take us down and tried to knock us down, that in the end, God still has the victory. And I know that some women are watching that have gone through the fire and that have gone through storms and that have gone through heartbreak and have gone through child abuse or maybe molestation, or maybe you've gone through things similar to Rhea. But I just want to encourage you that it can change. We saw that tonight through Rhea. They're still in the comments, Rhea. We own the real estate to our mind. Sending hearts. Come on, expand the positive. They're in here with us. They're in here with us. Rhea, I am so thankful that you took time out of your bedtime tonight to be here with us. Rhea goes to
Always.
30,
N
y'all.
Always a privilege, Najma. I just appreciate everyone's comments and just kindness, because I think there again, we all have a couple of painful chapters in our story, right? My story's unfortunately not that uncommon, but my story is not everybody's story, but all of us go through a tough chapter. And I just love the positive energy that's showing up and just saying, you know what? Yeah, I went through something tough, but I can be better instead of bitter.
Ooh, I can be better. Somebody say better and not bitter in the comment. Just say better, because that's a lot to type. Just say better. Rhea, I love that. Okay, where are my note takers at? Because Rhea gave so many ooh, like she threw those things out there, and I'm like, I gotta go back and watch the replay because I gotta write all those down. They're not better. They're coming in, Rhea. Better. They got it. Better. They're coming in. Better. I see you, sisters. Better. Oh, love your brave and calm spirit. I told y'all were gonna love her. Y'all were gonna love her. And
Oh,
as I'm talking about loving her, one of the books that I want to recommend to a lot of the sisters, they're still coming in. I'm coming back to the comments, y'all, I promise, but I want to say this about Rhea. If you want to connect with Rhea more and just learn more about her story and learn more about what she's doing, go to rheastory.com. That's where you'll be able to find all of her 14 books, also her 6 motivational journals. Am I right, Rhea? Those are
yep.
all there. You can see her TED Talk through there. You can just go on a journey with her because Rhea also talks about, shaping your story. Yes, she talks about her own story, but she talks about how leadership can develop you and you can soar and you can use your story to be great. So I want you to go to rheastory.com. And one of the books that I want to recommend, because y'all heard me say this on the last live when I was talking about the 31-day devotional, we're going to have a book club now, Rhea. This is not official. It's an unofficial thing that we've said. But I want to add your book to the book club now. And I want to add Fearfully and Wonderfully Me. That's Rhea's book on her website, rheastory.com, because I believe that some of us are getting ready to walk into that fearfully and wonderfully made season. And I
Mhm.
believe that book is going to change hearts, lives, and minds. Somebody came and said, Resilient Rhea. I like that. That's supposed to be your new contact in my
I
phone.
like that. I like that. Najma, I was just going to say anybody can download some sample chapters from that book and a lot of my other books. And that's just rheastory.com/download. You don't have to put an email in. I'm not spamming you with emails or putting you in a marketing funnel. You can just go to that and see links where you can download chapters from a lot of my different books. So just a resource out there. Or, I have a podcast. You can catch a lot of the lessons from that book on the podcast as well. Just search for Rhea Story on podcasts or even YouTube.
Wow. Okay. Yes, Rhea has a podcast. Yes. Rhea has to come on the She Can show. She has to come back and do a podcast episode with us because Rhea, I'm feeling like the sisters are going to be like, where's Rhea? We need Rhea to come back and get us up out of the dirt again. How many agree Rhea needs to come back? Say Rhea needs to come back in the comments. Bring Rhea back, because when I call on Rhea, I don't want to be out here by myself. I'm going to say, the sister said, we need you.
Anytime, Najma. Always love our conversations and just, I think it's Jim Rohn who said we become the average of the people we surround ourselves with. And I love people who have that positive energy just like you do. And I'm just so excited for your book and this. I mean, I think it's going to be such an inspiration for so many women.
Rhea, I appreciate you so much. Right now, it is not about me at all. The sisters are flooding the comments saying, Rhea, come back. Come back. Rhea, come back, Rhea. Come back. Rhea, I appreciate you so much. They love you. We love you.
Oh,
I'm so thankful that you were here with us tonight. Sisters, as we're closing out, I just want to remind you, like Rhea has been saying tonight, your story has power. Whatever the devil meant for evil, God will and is turning it for your good. Your career and your calling are different. Ooh. Oh, Rhea, my mom, she's a principal. She says my teen girls need to hear this. Okay, my mom's going to be connecting with you. And that's what we want.
okay.
You need to be connecting with Rhea, talking with Rhea. Please make sure you go to rheastory.com and go check out all 14 of her books, because now we're flooding the book club. Okay. But I just want to say I am so thankful that you came tonight. Your story gives me light. Your story gives me courage. How many of you took something from Rhea's stories tonight? Like you felt like your hope went up tonight. I know that was me. Somebody put hope back in the comments, or hope, or whatever you took from Rhea's story tonight and the tips that she shared. I want to see it in the comments. because I think that it just helped a lot of us tonight. So, Ria, I thank you for being brave enough to share your story with us. I thank you for the yes that you've given to God because it is now blessing us. I thank you for your light because when we feel dark, we see the light within you. I thank you for being brave, Ria. And I thank you for being a part of this She Can virtual book tour. You are amazing. The 31-day devotional book would have not come if it wasn't for Ria. She is one of the voices that was in my ear, like, get that book published. You got this. So, sisters, make sure you get your book, the She Can 31-day devotional book. It's on Amazon and shecanmovement.org. It's 31 days of you reconnecting with yourself and God and becoming the woman that you're called to be. Every day has a devotional, a challenge, a Bible verse, and I just want to make sure you're reconnecting with you and God. Also, while you're doing that, you already heard the other tools on riastory.com. Ria, thank you for being here. I just
Oh,
want
thank you.
I want you to go to bed too, but we want you to come back. When Ria comes back, y'all, we got to do it during the daytime. Is everybody
Oh,
coming in the daytime? We got to be.
we whatever time of day, Najma, is never a bad time or the wrong time to be pouring into people. So whatever time doesn't, I would rather do this than sleep any day. You can sleep later, right? You got to make stuff happen. You just have to do it.
Oh, Ria. Ria, they're saying what they learned tonight. Perseverance. Their faith went up. Love you, Ria. Love this. It's time to move. Oh, the sisters are just sharing what they love. I'm going to pray us out. God, I thank you so much for tonight. And I thank you for Ria, Lord. She is such a light. She is such a strong woman. She is so brave, God. I love how you turned her story into good, God. What the devil meant for evil, you turned it into good. And God, now she is changing lives. She is speaking up. She is motivating a lot of us that still feel stuck and that are still healing from things, God. She is teaching people and she is still learning herself. And God, I just pray you bless her in a special way. Bless her business, bless her calling, open doors for her, God, more speaking engagements, more books being sold, more opportunities for her, God. I just pray you pour into her the way she pours into others, God. And I pray for everyone that was watching the live tonight, God, that they see that there is hope from their future, that they see that they don't have to be stuck in a career, that they can walk into their calling, that they see that they can change and evolve. They see that they can have confidence with and through you, God. And they see that their life is a journey, that they become committed to growing each and every day. We had so much fun tonight, God, and we just thank you so much for it. We thank you for all that you're doing and all that you're about to do. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Ria, thank you.
Thank you, Najma. Take care.
Take care. Get some rest. Ria, sisters, say thank you to Ria in the comments. We're ending on such a high note to believe, have hope again, and keep going. Thank you, Ria, for being here. Have a good night,
Thanks.
everybody. Bye. Bye.